The first Trial of the Gods is now live in Assassin's Creed Origins. This is a week-long event with a special, very high-level boss. You're going to need to be level 40 to kill this guy. And this is the sword that you get for killing the boss. It's a great traditional sword with a very high combo multiplier. I've been loving it so far. You're going to need, or at least I would highly recommend using having 2 different bow and arrows that have health on hit. Will make this challenge a lot easier for you, and I'm going to show you how to beat this boss now. So there's, I guess, 2 different stages, 2 different attack patterns for this boss. The first attack pattern is when his chest is vulnerable and you have to shoot that glowing thing in the middle of his chest with any bow and arrow you have. You can go in I do go into my inventory and switch around my bows a couple times. There are a ton of arrow drops littered around the arena, so if you run out of ammo early, like you go into the fight with only half ammo, something like that, not the end of the world. There's a lot of pickups around there. The warrior bow is also very good, but it doesn't have to be a little bit closer, obviously. And if you don't have the upgrade for the warrior bow, that reduces the dispersion zone, so it's more of a tight shotgun choke, I guess, on it, instead of like a wide sawed-off shotgun. It might be a little bit tough to get that boss. The second phase is when he's going to spawn a couple of these, or I don't know, I think 4 or 5 on the first wave, other enemies that are just kind of running around, and he will not be throwing the dogs at you that kind of telegraph the line that the dogs follow. So when you kill these guys, you're actually doing damage to Anubis, and when he throws up that ring of bones, do everything you can to get out of there as quickly as possible. I would not recommend using the head splitter or any like 2-handed weapon that has like a very slow chain attack. I would recommend using fast-paced weapons, because what happens is he'll trap you in that ring of bones, and then he's gonna have these he's gonna summon these damage-dealing area of effect things on the ground that will just do damage to you over time, and you need to get out of that ring of bones as quickly as possible. And if you're mid adrenaline attack and pummeling someone that's on the ground, while you're on top of that, you're just going to take a ton of damage and not be able to get out of there. So for the first 2 waves, so he increasingly sends more dogs after you. For the first time that he's sending dogs, he's going to only send 2 at a time. Learn how to get away from those dogs without using the dodge ability, because eventually he's going to up it to 4 and then up it to 6, and you're going to need to be able to just kind of angle yourself to get away from those dogs without using the dash, the roll, because there's a cooldown on the roll. You can only hit it 3 times in a row before you kind of do a somersault, and your character moves very slow. So practice being able to get away from those dogs when it's easy without using the roll. So this pattern just keeps on going back and forth. You dodge the dogs for a bit, then you have to kill all the other guys that are running around. It's a little bit easier to just walk away from the dogs when you're kind of on the outside of the circle, like I am right there, and obviously you saw me. If you get too far outside, you're going to end the mission. The chain throw is very effective as well. I don't necessarily recommend using it unless you know that you're not going to be stuck on one of his damage points, like I was just talking about. Like I didn't get trapped on there, and I used the chain throw because I knew I wasn't going to be on one of those black spots. So he's at about half health now, and we're just continuing the pattern. I'm continuing to pick up arrows as I run around the arena, and switching between my 2 bows. And if you don't have, you know, I do not have all of the bow upgrades. I have 2 of the 4. I have the one for the Predator bow that lets you control the arrow midair. Not really helpful at all on this fight. I mean, you could if you want, but that bow just gets so much damage, so much of a damage bonus when you're stealth. It's not particularly helpful in boss fights. And the Oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the other name of the bow. The other one that I'm not using right now, where you just shoot one arrow at a time. It's like a hunter bow, I believe, where you do more damage the longer you kind of pull the arrow back. And I don't like that one either, just because the rapid fire bow is much more effective. And especially because the rapid fire bow and the warrior bow, the shotgun bow, those are the only two bows that I have that give health on hit, which I'm working on some elephant videos as well, is absolutely essential for getting through those elephant boss fights. I don't know how it would be extraordinarily hard to get through this fight or the elephant boss fights without that perk on your weapons. And because you never do any melee damage to the Anubis, like, body himself, you just have to do damage to the summons, which does damage in turn to him. I found that just a fast weapon is really good for this. So anyway, yeah, I'm getting towards the end of the boss here. Pretty, you know, it was not as difficult as I expected it to be. It probably took 3 or 4 attempts for me to get through. If you're, I'm sure it'll be much, much harder. Oh, and I'm on hard difficulty, by the way. I neglected to mention that at the beginning of this video. I don't think there's any bonuses whatsoever for doing it on hard versus easy or medium, but anyway. So yeah, that's the end of the fight. Hope it helped. Hope this video helped. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for more Assassin's Creed Origins, tips and tricks and walkthroughs and all that kind of stuff, and eventually, well, the rest of the gear set and how to get that. It's glitched on mine. Let me know if it glitched on yours. The sword shows up as, you know, as that, the Conductor of Souls, and when you go to your inventory, it'll show the piece of the gear set that then is just blank. It doesn't show anything. I don't know why I did that. It's glitched. That's why I did that. Just a blank space. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody, and game on.